I want to talk to you about Microsoft Azure Service Bus. This is very powerful. This is a technology that lets you, essentially create a fully managed enterprise service broker, which has message queues and a publisher subscriber model. The application that comes to mind is Microsoft BizTalk Server. Does that ring a bell to anybody? Even if it doesn't really matter. Microsoft BizTalk Server allowed you to connect multiple disparate applications together, and it utilized XML and JSON messages to get the messages across from the publisher to the subscriber, but it did it by utilizing transactions. You essentially use BizTalk Server to process a message, make decisions in midstream, and decide which parts of the message went to the other side. Now, these messages from these disparate systems, for example, maybe a point of sale system connected to a customer relationship management system, which is connected to a ERP system, an enterprise resource planning system, all of which were written in different languages, different platforms, different backends. Without having a pub-sub publisher subscriber or message queues or being able to deal with a service bus-like technology, it would make it very, very difficult to have something like BizTalk Server work. There are some key things you need to know about. Some common scenarios that utilize messaging include, the messaging itself, the service bus. This is transferring messages or data, maybe a sale, maybe a purchase, any message from any subscriber, from the sender to the subscriber. And this is using a pull method, which means that the receiver is pulling messages and the message queue or the service bus is not sending them in a push method. Service bus is a PaaS, a platform as a service model, which essentially means you don't have to worry about an operating system or hardware or worrying about patching or space or logging or anything you would have to worry about when you're dealing with a full operating system and full infrastructure. So it is a platform as a service, making it much easier for you to implement. Maybe you want to use it for the purposes of decoupling applications. You want to improve the scalability of applications, making it possible for large implementations to go through. So if you have spikes in traffic that can be dealt with when you are decoupling applications. Load balancing. Load balancing makes it possible for multiple competing consumers to read from a queue at the same exact time. Extremely enterprise ready. So the load is leveled in such a way that everybody gets the messages they're expecting at the right time with minimal latency. Topics and subscriptions. Well, topics, not to be confused with queues. Topics are essentially useful in pub-sub scenarios. Queues are utilized in point-to-point communications. So if you look at it this way, a sender sending a message to multiple receivers, quite powerful. So if you really wanted one sender to send messages to or send a message out to many different receivers, topics would be the way you would get that accomplished. Look at it this way. The example that I was giving you of BizTalk Server, where you're connecting different disparate applications together, you are going to send one message and the receiver of that message may be multiple different systems in multiple locations. You may send the message and then you may send a confirmation and then you may send it to a log. You may have many different subscribers. So topics accomplish that task. Transactions are where decisions are made in the middle. BizTalk Server is an example of an application that does transactions with messages. And then message sessions themselves, managing and maintaining the state information of a message, coordinating workflows, coordinating multiplex transfers. That's the responsibility of message sessions. So this is Service Bus. The other component I want to discuss with you is Azure's Monitor and Application Insights. You have a lot of applications that are running on Azure that make up your entire environment. Here's SQL Server, some external services, your web service communicating perhaps with some HTTP requests, and you can have a little itty-bitty SDK with Azure Insights in it. And you can use it to provide you with telemetry, to provide you with analytics and data. Maybe you want to send an alert when there are too many users, when something is or isn't working. Maybe you want to send messages. Maybe you want to have a dashboard constructed. Maybe you want to do something in Visual Studio in code based on what you see, or implement a REST API, or export the data out for what is going on within your application. So Application Insight is a little SDK that exists within your application that provides you with information, analytical information, status information, update information, confirmation information that you can send across to perform various different tasks, dashboarding and alerts, something to do in code, maybe in your Visual Studio Code, taking actions based on what is going on in your application in real time. That's Application Insights.